Honourable Senators and Members, distinguished visitors, family and friends, welcome and thank you very much for joining us for this important first ceremony of the opening of the 48th Parliament of the Commonwealth of Australia. I pay my respects to the traditional custodians of the lands on which we meet today and acknowledge the cultures of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people with us in this room and those watching or listening from all across Australia. I also acknowledge Senior Ngunnawal Elder Aunty Violet Sheridan, who I will shortly invite to welcome us to her country, Ngunnawal country, on which Parliament House stands and where we all meet today. Ngunnawal custodian Serena Williams will then lead the Yukambrook dancers in a traditional dance of welcome, after which you'll be invited into a smoking ceremony outside with Ngunnawal Elder Warren Daly. But first, it's my great honour to invite Aunty Violet Sheridan to give her welcome.
Thank you. Yuma, everyone. I welcome you all to Ngunnawal country and to beautiful Canberra. I extend that welcome especially to our Prime Minister, the Honourable Anthony Albanese, his partner, Miss Jodie Aden, and his son, Mr Nathan Albanese, the Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Miss Susan Lee, the Ministers for Indigenous Australia, Senator Malindia McCarthy, the President of the Senate, Senator Sue Lines, the Speaker of the House, Representative Mr Milton Digg, Indigenous parliamentarians, all new and returning members and senators and all other distinguished guests. I also acknowledge Senior Ngunnawal Elder Aunty Lillian Bell, Aunty Lynette Carroll, Uncle Warren Daly and the other Ngunnawal and community elders here today. I stand here on the shoulders of my Apigal ancestors, Queen Caroline Chisholm Lane, King Andy Lane, Richard Dick Lowe and my great-grandfather Ned Carroll. My knowledge older, my Uncle Bruce Merritt. I stand here as a proud Ngunnawal woman as I carry my ancestors in spirit, walking into the future, teaching the next generations about the oldest culture in the world, my culture, the Ngunnawal Aboriginal culture. This land, its hills, its rivers, it always was and always will be Ngunnawal land. I honour my Ngunnawal ancestors who walked this country before me and who continue to guide me today. Their spirit lives in this land, and it's through my respect and care that I acknowledge their presence. To walk on Ngunnawal country is to accept responsibilities. It is not just about being here. It is about caring for this land, the waters and all living things, as my ancestors have done for thousands of generations. When we care for country, we pay respect for those who came before us and ensure that their legacy continues. Ngunnawal country is alive. It lives in our stories, our ceremonies, our language and our connections to this land. It carries forward by our elders, our young ones and all who walk with us. It is a culture of strength, of resilience and of deep wisdom. As part of this welcome, I offer you spiritual protection and safe passage. May you all walk gently, listen deeply and carry the spirit of this country with you. May your journey on Ngunnawal country be of understanding, respect and shared purpose, guided by the values of care, connection and community. I'd like to pay my respects to my elders past and present and emerging, and extend that respect to all First Nations people here this morning. I'd also like to acknowledge all the non-Indigenous people here as well. In keeping in a spirit of friendship and reconciliation, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all here once again to Ngunnawal country. And on behalf of my sons, Jason and Richie, my family, Aunty Lily's family, and all the Ngunnawal families, I say once again welcome. I would also like to thank Uncle Warren Daly, my son Richie Allen, Serena Williams, Joel Bolger and the Yurabok dancers for gifting their time and culture knowledge alongside me as part of my welcome to country. Thank you all.
Thank you, Auntie Violet. I'd now like to invite Ngunnawal custodian Serena Williams to lead a performance by the Yukonbrook Dancers.
Yumalandi, everyone. My name is Serena Williams, very proud Ngunnawal Wiradjuri woman. Born on this country and been on this country for over 50 years. I have with me Yukonbrook, a dance group of young women and young girls to showcase that culture is still alive and well. But before we do that, we would like to acknowledge our elders, past, present and future, and acknowledge our senior elders, Auntie Violet and Auntie Lily, and Uncle Warren Daly, who's here with us today, and all our Ngunnawal mob, and all the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here too, and of course Mr Anthony Albanese. We'll be doing 2 dances today. We'll be doing the Nudjan. The Nudjan is about our river systems here in the Murrumbidgee, the Oriole, the Gudgeonbee, the Ginninderry and the Molonglo, about cleansing ourselves in the river and our business as one of our greatest resources. Then we will be showcasing Mulliyan. Mulliyan is the totem of the Ngunnawal people. She will guide, protect and oversee you. Our little Mulliyan chicks will have hatched and we're going to be taking them out to the Brindabellas to fly. We will protect them, guide them and oversee them. Thank you. Nudjan.
Nudjan, Maramidi. Nudjana, Nudjana, Marmamiki, Marmamiki, Ganjiri, Nudjana, Nadana, Nadana,
Mulliyan.
Nagare, Narabata, Narababa, Nagare.
Yugabra!
Thank you, Yukumbrook, for those beautiful dances. I now welcome the Prime Minister to make some remarks in response.
Well, thank you very much, and I begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, and I pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging, and I thank you, Auntie Violet, for your wonderful words of welcome, and thank you to Auntie Lillian as well as thanking Serena Williams and the wonderful cultural performance which we have just witnessed here this morning. I also want to acknowledge every First Nations member and senator taking their place in the 48th Parliament, as well as everyone who is back here, and pleased to be back here, both new and re-elected members and senators and their guests here this morning. The Welcome to Country is such a powerful way to begin a new Parliament. Like a lot of the most positive things about our nation, we shouldn't take it for granted. This ceremony did not take place until 2007 and was controversial in 2007. It is not controversial today, nor should it be. It is a respectful way of us beginning our deliberations here in Canberra, which of course means meeting place. What a Welcome to Country does is holds out like a hand warmly and graciously extended, an opportunity for us to embrace and to show a profound love of home and country. It is a reminder as well of why we all belong here together, that we are stronger together. And we belong, if I may return to Auntie Violet's wonderful words, in a spirit of understanding, respect and shared purpose. Guided by Minister Malarndirri McCarthy and following in the footsteps of her two great predecessors, Linda Burney and Ken Wyatt, we keep walking together. And with every step, we feel the echoes through history. The footsteps, nearly a century distant from us now, of every First Nations person who trekked to the opening of the first Parliament House down the hill. The footsteps of the members of the stolen generations who came to this place 17 years ago now to hear the words that they needed to hear. I'm sorry, uttered by an Australian Prime Minister on behalf of the Australian nation. That was a day of catharsis, built on courage and grace. Ultimately, it was a day of togetherness and a reminder of our great potential and promise as a nation. Consider the beautiful set of contradictions that make up who we are. A youthful nation, yet one of the world's oldest democracies. An ancient continent, but one that we share with the world's oldest continuous culture. What an extraordinary privilege. What a source of pride for all Australians. We have so many facets and they come together to make a unique whole. They come together here on the ground and they come together in the sky above us. Look up on a clear night when you're far from city lights and you'll see the dark emu with the Southern Cross shining on its head. And when you're looking at the Southern Cross, look at the star that twinkles most softly. It's the part of the Southern Cross that features on the Australian flag, but not on the flag of New Zealand. Several years ago now, the International Astronomical Union formally recognised the star as Yinan, the name given to it by the Waterman people in the Northern Territory. To the Waterman, it represents a red dilly bag filled with special songs of knowledge. It is an Australian star, a piece of ourselves reflected back at us from our great southern sky. And it flies above us now on that giant flagpole at the top of this building. One more reminder that this country and this Parliament is our great diversity of chapters coming together. And the Welcome to Country lets us touch the very beginning of the story, our story, the Australian story. In the 48th Parliament, we write the next chapter. Let us do it with the same sense of grace and courage that First Nations people show us with their leadership.
Thank you, Prime Minister. I now invite the Leader of the Opposition to make some remarks.
Good morning. Thank you, Auntie Violet, for your heartfelt welcome to country for the opening of this 48th Commonwealth Parliament and for sharing your important reflections. And can I also acknowledge you, Auntie Lilybell. Thank you, Prime Minister, for your thoughtful words. And can I add my recognition of the cultural display and the extraordinary music and dancing. As the Leader of the Opposition and on behalf of the Coalition, I acknowledge the Ngunnawal and Ngambri peoples who are the traditional custodians of the Canberra area and pay respect to the elders past and present of all Australia's Indigenous peoples. Members of Parliament, Senators, ladies and gentlemen, today's welcome reminds us that this Parliament doesn't begin in isolation. As Australians, we share a story unlike any other, with an ancient culture, the oldest living in the world, rooted in land, language and story. A democratic inheritance brought from afar, but grounded in Australian values. And a modern nation shaped by people from every part of the world, united by the belief that this country gives you a fair go and a chance at a better life. It's a story still being written. And this 48th Parliament offers another opportunity to write it well, through practical, lasting change. To ensure that every Indigenous child can realise their full potential through the best possible education. To improve access to healthcare, especially in our rural and remote communities. To confront the scourge of family and domestic violence with courage and compassion. And to listen to those improving lives on the ground and back them with action, not just words. Let us approach that work with resolve and with a shared commitment to real and lasting progress. That work of listening, of acting, and of striving for better is at the heart of reconciliation and our national story. Thank you again, Auntie Violet, for your welcome for the opening of this new Parliament. May it set the tone as we recommit ourselves to the taking of practical action to improve lives and expand opportunity for Indigenous Australians in every part of our great country. Thank you.
I thank the Leader of the Opposition. And can you please join me again in thanking Auntie Violet, Serena, the musicians and the wonderful Yukon dancers. The usher of the Black Rod and I will now join Auntie Violet and Auntie Lillian as they lead the official party outside for the smoking ceremony. Please follow the instructions of our ushers who are here to assist you. They'll direct the first row to follow the official party, shortly followed by Ngunnawal guests. When these rows have departed, all other guests are invited to follow us out to the forecourt for the smoking ceremony, which will conclude the event. Thank you very much.
The Honourable Ms Sam Mostyn, AC, Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia, acting under Section 5 of the Constitution, appoint Tuesday, 22 July 2025 at 10:30 a.m. as the day and time for the Parliament to meet at Parliament House, Canberra, to hold a session of the Parliament, and summon all senators and members of the House of Representatives to meet at that day, time and place. Signed and sealed with the Great Seal of Australia on 22 May 2025, Sam Mostyn, Governor-General. Countersigned by Her Excellency's Command, Anthony Albanese, Prime Minister.
Honourable Senators, the Deputy of Her Excellency the Governor-General and the Honourable Justice Gordon.
Honourable Senators, please take your places. Blackrod, please let the members of the House of Representatives know that I desire their attendance in the Senate. ready? Senators, members of the House of Representatives, Her Excellency the Governor-General has appointed me as her deputy to declare open the Parliament of the Commonwealth. The Clerk of the Senate will now read the instrument of appointment.
I, the Honourable Ms Sam Mostyn AC, Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia, acting under Section 126 of the Constitution and Clause 4 of the Letters Patent dated 21 August 2008 relating to the Office of Governor-General, appoint the Honourable Stephen Gageler AC, Chief Justice of the High Court of Australia, to be my deputy to declare open the Parliament at the time and place appointed by the proclamation published in the Commonwealth Gazette on 29 May 2025. Signed, Sam Mostyn, Governor-General, countersigned by Her Excellency's Command, Anthony Albanese, Prime Minister.
Pursuant to the instrument which the Clerk has now read, I declare open the 48th Parliament of the Commonwealth. Her Excellency the Governor-General has commanded me to let you know that after Senators and members of the House of Representatives have been sworn, the Governor-General will declare in person at this place the cause of her calling the Parliament together. Before that time, it is necessary for the Senate to choose its President and for the House of Representatives to choose its Speaker. Later today, you will present those you have chosen to the Governor-General. The Honourable Justice Gordon will now attend in the House of Representatives to administer the oath or affirmation of allegiance to honourable members of that House.
And I'm good. National Guard Royal Salute presents arms. Guard, shoulder, arms. Guard, order, arms.
Honourable Senators, the President.
Minister Wong.
Thank you, President. The Governor-General will be pleased to receive you and senators in Members Hall immediately.
Senators, I invite you to follow me to Members Hall. Thank you.
Honourable Senators, Her Excellency, the Governor-General.
Your Excellency, I have the honour to present myself to you as the choice of the Senate President.
Congratulations,
Thank
President.
you.
I'm delighted to present you with your authority to administer the oath of affirmation of allegiance to senators.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think there are maybe you stand here. Good afternoon, Senators. I thought I would take the opportunity, given you've come all the way out of the chamber, just to say a few words. And I want to thank the President, now duly re-elected, for welcoming me today and to congratulate you on this wonderful reappointment as President of the Senate. I'm really honoured to be presiding over today's important opening of the Parliament for the first time as your Governor-General. I was here, of course, just over a year ago to be sworn in as your Governor-General in the Senate chamber. I wanted to thank Shane Halloran for providing the Welcome to Country both at this morning's ecumenical service at Wesley Uniting Church and also for those of you that joined us on Sunday for our time together with your families. That wonderful welcome. And Auntie Violet Sheridan for her Welcome to Country earlier today in the Great Hall. I also want to thank the Honourable Stephen Gageler, AC, Chief Justice of the High Court of Australia, for acting as my deputy this morning to declare open the 48th Parliament and to administer the oath or affirmation of allegiance to senators. Now, just a few weeks ago, for some of you in the room, the newest senators amongst you, I was delighted to welcome you to Government House as part of your induction program, and I welcomed many more of you again back to Government House on Sunday for a democracy sausage, which I'm so glad that so many of you were able to do, but particularly with your family. It was a preview to the formality of today and an opportunity to acknowledge and thank your families, your partners, everyone in your world who takes care of you and supports you. And I see so much of that performing my job in this Parliament. You heard me speak often of care, kindness and respect as holding a central place in Australian life, as I see whenever I travel to all the places that you represent. I see it in all the people that you represent. And just over a year ago, when I did take office, I suggested that care could take many forms. Care for each other, care for those that do the caring of others, care for our continent and our extraordinary environment, care for civics and institutions, and importantly, care for the way we speak to each other and discuss and debate the very tough issues of our time without anger or judgment or hate, but always with respect. In effect, to be able to argue well. Now, I've been receiving many emails from people across the country who want to reflect back to me how they feel about the notion of care. And I was recently made the patron of Carers Australia, and I received this note just a few days ago. He said to me, "Carers know in our bones that care is not a private burden, but a public good. It is part of our national story." And I'm flooded with these kind of messages from people, the people that you represent in this Parliament, that care has an abiding role in our national character. I know that you'll be working with integrity and optimism in your roles as senators. I know you'll bring that care and kindness and respect to the work that you do. As representatives of your states and the important work of your vital committees, and as stewards of our democracy, you'll contribute so profoundly to Australia's progress as a modern, welcoming and successful nation where I think people know they truly do belong. Your election by the people of Australia and your welcome into this place reminds us of the remarkable strength of our democracy and the important institutions of government where you all play such vital roles. I want to offer my congratulations to all of you returning to the Senate, and I want to add one more element of care. Please take good care of yourselves and of each other. It can be brutal, the life of a senator, being here away from your families and friends. The hours are tough, the work is dramatic, but do take care of yourselves. I take care of myself quite a bit by travelling with things that give me great hope, and today I brought back with me my small copy of the Constitution. I always have one with me. It's a small form of care, but in this case, I have one signed by Sir William Dean. And he signed that for me just before I was sworn in as your 28th Governor-General. He told me to take good care of myself and to show compassion for everything I do. And he presided over this very event in 1996 when that Parliament opened. So I feel there's a lovely tradition. Many other Governors-General since, but I have the one signed by Sir William Dean. So as you begin your work in this 48th Parliament of the Commonwealth of Australia, I want to wish you personally all the very best for the years ahead, and I look forward to seeing you on many more occasions. Congratulations to you all.
Henrietta.
Honourable members, the Speaker.
I shall be glad if honourable members will accompany me when I present myself to Her Excellency the Governor-General. Honourable members, Her Excellency the Governor-General. Your Excellency, I have the honour to present myself as the Speaker chosen by the House of Representatives.
Congratulations, Mr. Speaker. I am delighted to present you with your authority to administer the oath or affirmation of allegiance to the members of the House of Representatives. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mind if I say a few words? Thank you. Prime Minister, Leader of the Opposition, members, all members of the House of Representatives. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and congratulations on your historic reappointment to the important role of Speaker of the House of Representatives. I was watching from Government House, watching the coverage, and it was wonderful to see a nomination by Joanne Ryan, seconded by Michael McCormack. Wonderful to have that support for your re-election. You join the small number of speakers of the House of Representatives who have been re-elected to that role, including most recently the Honourable Tony Smith, who was the 30th Speaker of the House of Representatives. I'd like to thank Shane Halloran for providing the welcome to country at this morning's ecumenical service at Wesley Uniting Church and at our gathering at Government House on Sunday, and Auntie Violet Sheridan for her welcome to country earlier today in the Great Hall. I'd also like to thank the Honourable Michelle Gordon AC, Justice of the High Court of Australia, for acting as my deputy to administer the oath or affirmation of allegiance to all of you, the members of the House of Representatives. To all members, thank you for welcoming me so warmly today. As we participate together in the ceremonies for the opening of the 48th Parliament of the Commonwealth of Australia, I share and feel your pride in gathering here in Australia's Parliament House and your appreciation of this very important moment in the civic life of our country. Now, for many of you, you'll know it was a great pleasure and privilege to see you all in a bit of a relaxed mode and to host you all at Government House on Sunday, but also to welcome the newest members of your group at Government House just a few weeks ago as part of the induction process. It's been wonderful to welcome all of you to Government House, where everybody is welcome. Wherever I speak of the resonant place of care, kindness and respect in Australian life. And travelling across all of your electorates in the last year, I've seen those values become as much a part of life as anything throughout Australia. And I know you see them too. Across your electorates, you see these people, you see the communities. It must be something wonderful for you, because it certainly is for me, to see the muscle of care exercised so regularly. I like to frame it like this: care for each other, care for those that do the caring for others, care for our continent and our extraordinary environment and beautiful riches, care for civics and institutions, which I know the Speaker and I share a great passion for and will continue to do work on, and care for the way, particularly in this place, the way we speak to each other and debate the very tough issues of our time without anger or judgment or hate, but always with respect. Perhaps exercising that great muscle to be able to argue well. Now, I hear regularly from Australians, as you must do too, that they see our civic life underpinned by these values, demonstrated by all of us who have the great privilege of serving our communities in public life. And if we make the mistake of thinking that care is soft, I always talk to people and remind them and remind myself that in its most powerful form, care is tough. It's accountable and measurable, often hard to do consistently and persistently, but always essential to our nation's future and our cohesion as a modern society. Now, because I speak about care and kindness so often around the country, I often receive emails, as I'm sure you do too, from people who give me a response to that way of framing our values. I received one just a couple of days ago, and it represents the many I receive. And this was a gentleman who has a caring role, and he was writing to me after taking on the patronage of Carers Australia. And he said, "Carers know in our bones that care is not a private burden, but a public good. It is part of our national story." That always gives me a little bit of goosebumps. Now, for you, working with integrity and optimism as stewards of our democracy, I believe you'll bring that same care, kindness and respect to your roles in the great House of Representatives. Your election by the people of Australia and your welcome into this place is a reminder of the extraordinary strength of our democracy and institutions of government and our potential as a modern, inclusive and successful nation where everybody belongs. I want to congratulate all of you for returning to the House of Representatives, and I want to add a new element to my care factors. Take care of yourselves and of each other. I saw that happening on Sunday when you were all together speaking with one another in a more casual environment. And before I wish you all the very best, I want to let you know that the way I care for myself is I carry the Constitution with me. That may sound like a girly SWAT thing to do, but it is the thing that defines my job. And I brought this one with me today because I have the great honour of having it signed by Sir William Dean. He signed it for me before I was sworn in as your Governor-General just over a year ago, and he asked me always to act with compassion. Now, he presided over this very same event in 1996 for a parliament that was just about to start, and I feel very proud to continue that legacy as your Governor-General. So today, all I want to do is wish you all the very best as you begin your very important work in this 48th Parliament of the Commonwealth of Australia. Congratulations.
I thank the Governor-General for this honour, and I'll never take a day in this office for granted. I look forward to working with her to serve the Parliament and the people of Australia. Honourable members, I invite you to accompany me back to the House.
Honourable Senators, the President.
Oh, please take your seats. Sorry. Oh, such power. Yeah.
President, Her Excellency the Governor-General.
Please be seated. Blackrod, please let the members of the House of Representatives know that I desire their attendance in the Senate.
Mr. Speaker, the Usher of the Black Rod with a message from Her Excellency the Governor-General.
Admit the Usher of the Black Rod.
Mr. Speaker, Her Excellency the Governor-General desires the attendance of honourable members in the Senate.
I shall be glad if honourable members will accompany me to the Senate chamber.
Oh, I'm pleased. I'm very pleased. It was a lovely event. How does it feel having members in the Sorry?
I think you're right. Yep.
As you speak, I'll say good afternoon.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everybody. Speakers aren't on yet.
Richard, is it Michael?
Is the mic on?
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I acknowledge the Ngunnawal people as the traditional custodians of the land we are meeting on, and other families and people with connection to the land in Canberra and surrounding regions. I acknowledge their elders, past and present. I would also like to acknowledge and welcome all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people with us here today. Honourable Senators and Members of the Parliament of Australia, the last federal election was the largest in our history. At a time of declining electoral turnouts around the world, a record number of Australians had their say. Peacefully and purposefully, they re-elected a government that will continue building on the foundation of its first term, upholding the values of fairness, aspiration and opportunity, shaping an economy that rewards effort and innovation, and ensuring every Australian has the chance to succeed and can access essential services. The government will work to repay the trust Australians have placed in it. Within weeks of its re-election, the government advocated for an increase in the national minimum wage and award wages. It provided essential support to communities across Australia affected by devastating floods. And it has strengthened ties in our region with our strategic partners around the world, with the Prime Minister attending the G7 Leaders Summit and visiting Indonesia, Italy, Singapore, Fiji, the United States, Canada and China. The government recognises we live in a time of global uncertainty. So in this term, the 48th Commonwealth Parliament, the government will act to respond to challenges and secure the opportunities before us. This starts with delivering lasting cost of living relief, helping Australians keep more of what they earn, strengthening Medicare and the Pharmaceutical Benefits Scheme, making education and training more affordable, and assisting more people realise their dream of owning a home. And it continues with ensuring our economy is resilient, diversified and productive, supporting Australian industry and driving innovation to ensure our cities and regions alike reap the benefits of the jobs of the future, deepening connections with our region and with the world, and making sure no one is held back and that no one is left behind. The government is ready to return to the task of building Australia's future. 3 years ago, the government took office amid a worldwide inflation crisis. Fighting inflation was prioritised, along with cost of living relief for Australians. Today, inflation is moderating, interest rates have fallen, real wages are growing, and more than 1 million jobs have been created. Australians together have steered our economy through choppy waters. Many, however, are still under pressure. The government will continue delivering cost of living relief for those doing it tough. It has legislated 2 additional tax cuts on top of its first round last year, meaning 14 million Australians will benefit from a lower tax bill. And it will introduce a $1,000 instant tax deduction from the next financial year, saving taxpayers time and money. The government will make the largest investment in Medicare's history to deliver an extra 18 million bulk bill GP visits each year and expand the bulk billing incentive to cover all Australians. It will add another 50 Medicare urgent care clinics to the 87 already created. In its last term, the government made the most significant cut to the cost of medicines in the history of the Pharmaceutical Benefits Scheme. This term, it will ensure people will pay no more than $25 for PBS medicines. This will save Australians more than $200 million each year on essential medicines, while for pensioners and concession card holders, the price of scripts will be frozen until 2030. In its first term, the government raised the base rate of JobSeeker, delivered increases to Commonwealth rent assistance and expanded eligibility for parenting payment single. The government has also extended its energy bill relief, reducing household bills by an average of 7.5% nationally, and it will ban supermarket gouging. Families can also expect continued support with the cost of childcare. This term, the government will invest in building childcare centres and expanding high-quality, not-for-profit services, making affordable care accessible for even more families. Another priority is supporting younger Australians to have access to a good education and gain employable skills by making the education system fairer and more affordable. The government will cut 20% off all student loan debts, raise the minimum repayment threshold and reduce repayment rates. And it will make free TAFE permanent nationwide. The government will continue strengthening Medicare, building a future where every Australian can access affordable, world-class health care. It will establish 1800 Medicare, a free 24-hour health advice and after-hours GP service that will save 250,000 Australians unnecessary trips to the emergency department. Mental health services are another priority. The government is already setting up funding for more than 60 Medicare mental health centres and is expanding the mental health workforce through more than 4,000 scholarships, internships and placements. It will commit $1.1 billion to build and upgrade Medicare mental health centres, headspace services and youth specialist care centres for people with complex needs, and will fund 1,200 training places for mental health professionals and peer workers. The government is also investing more than $790 million in women's health. This funding will give women more choice and reduce the costs of long-acting reversible contraceptives. It will expand endometriosis and pelvic pain clinics from 22 to 33 nationwide, enable these clinics to help people experiencing menopause and perimenopause, and create a new Medicare rebate for menopause health assessments. The government has introduced a men's health package to break the stigma around seeking support for mental and physical health. The government also recognises that affordable, tailored health care requires a pipeline of skilled health professionals. So it will introduce the largest GP training program in the nation's history, training 2,000 practitioners every year by 2028. This will be accompanied by further scholarships for 400 nurses and midwives to complete postgraduate studies. The government recognises the dream of home ownership feels out of reach for many, particularly young people and aspiring first home buyers. Part of the solution lies in reducing the financial barriers. In its first term, the government legislated the Help to Buy scheme. Over the next 4 years, this will help 40,000 people achieve their dream of owning their first home. Since May 2022, the government's Home Guarantee Scheme has helped more than 150,000 eligible home buyers. The government will expand eligibility for the scheme so it is available to every Australian first home buyer. Unlocking housing supply is another critical step. The government understands this will benefit prospective buyers as well as those struggling with insecure rental agreements. The Build to Rent scheme will help deliver 80,000 new rental properties. These properties must offer 5-year leases, giving greater rental security to tenants. The government has committed $43 billion under its Homes for Australia plan to build 1.2 million houses over the next 5 years, and it will work with state developers and industry to build up to 100,000 homes that will be reserved for sale to first home buyers. To meet these targets, the government will accelerate the pace of construction. The government will invest $54 million into the advanced manufacturing needed to produce prefabricated and modular homes, incentivise states and territories to remove red tape and train more tradies. The government will double the incentive payment for eligible apprentices starting their trade in the housing construction industry, and it will fast-track the qualification of 6,000 experienced workers through the Advanced Entry Trades Training Program. The government is committed to helping the next generation of Australians reach their dreams. This term, it will continue to progress its early years strategy to give Australian children the very best start in life, particularly those in need. The government will continue to work towards universal early education. It will guarantee eligibility for 3 days of childcare subsidies a week for children who need it, while building more childcare centres in areas of need. Continuing to roll out pay rises for our dedicated early childhood educators will also remain a priority over the coming term, helping to enable the highest quality care. The government will also ensure every Australian school student receives the funding they need to reach their full potential. 14 years since the Gonski Review identified the schooling resource standard, the Commonwealth now has an agreement with all states and territories to make that standard a reality. The government will continue to stand with parents and teachers when it comes to technology and making clear the social and legal responsibilities social media companies have to young Australians. The government will also continue investing in Australian skills. This includes making free TAFE permanent, delivering a 20% cut to student debt and rolling out the Commonwealth prac payment, which helps Australians studying to be a teacher, a nurse, a midwife or a social worker to get the support they need while on prac. The government will pursue its goal of 80% of the Australian workforce holding a TAFE qualification or a university degree by 2050, and it will continue implementing the Australian Universities Accord. The government is focused on delivering help with cost of living while building for the future. This means an economy that is more resilient, diversified and productive, one that works for every Australian in every part of the country. It will do this by advancing equality for women at work, by working to close the gap in economic opportunities for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, and by bringing a new generation of manufacturing and renewable energy jobs to our regions and outer suburbs. The government will improve wages and conditions for Australian workers. It has argued for an increase in the national minimum wage and award wages and will introduce legislation to protect penalty rates in modern awards. Its ambition is to build an economy where wages, growth and productivity rise together, and one which thrives in a time of global uncertainty. Meeting this ambition requires a unified national effort. Government, business, unions and civil society working together to boost productivity and strengthen Australia's budget sustainability and economic resilience. And the government respects the vital role the Australian Public Service has to play in the development and delivery of these reforms. The government has taken steps to improve productivity, from introducing a National Productivity Fund to committing to banning non-compete clause for most workers. And it will continue to prioritise investing in the skills, research and infrastructure to help the economy flourish, while also respecting the vast capability of our private sector and doing what is needed to reduce red tape and encourage private investment. This includes supporting Australia's small businesses by building on more than $2 billion in targeted support the government committed in its last term. The government will also continue to engage widely with the tech sector and local businesses, workers and unions to ensure Australia can seize the opportunities of artificial intelligence and manage its risks. For the first time in Australia's history, women make up the majority of the federal cabinet. As a government that places gender equality at the heart of its agenda, that is a source of pride. Developed during its first term, the government's Working for Women strategy sets out its vision for gender equality, for an Australia where people are safe, are treated with respect and can make choices, access resources and achieve equal outcomes no matter their gender. Over this term, the government will continue to drive national action to end gender-based violence and put women's economic equality at the centre of what they do. Already there have been welcome improvements. In the last year, for example, Australia's gender pay gap reached the lowest point on record. More work lies ahead. Whether that is holding employers to account for equality in their workplaces, improving women's access to vital health care, or supporting the representation of women in leadership and decision-making roles, importantly, gender equality cannot be achieved if women are not safe. The government will continue delivering the National Plan to end violence against women and children and working with National Cabinet on a broad range of initiatives, from intervening early to target high-risk perpetrators and prevent violence, to better financial and housing support for women escaping violence. The government will also look at ways to support children and young people exposed to violence and close loopholes that allow for financial abuse through the tax, superannuation and social security systems. Also high on the agenda is launching the first standalone First Nations National Plan to end violence against Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women and children. A gender-equal Australia benefits everyone. It needs the efforts of everyone too, and the government welcomes the continued contributions of men and boys as it pursues this vital progress. This term, the government will continue to invest in better outcomes for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, honouring their profound connection to country. This commitment is grounded in the principles of self-determination and genuine partnership. Building on the efforts of previous years, the government recognises that lasting progress depends on policies and programs that draw on the experience and understanding of First Nations peoples and communities. As such, the government will continue to work towards closing the gap in partnership with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities and organisations, including peak organisations. The government will also build on its commitment to economic empowerment through the development of a First Nations economic partnership. While acknowledging the challenges of the past and present, we must all approach the path forward together with determination, humility and optimism. Australia will be stronger when the gap is closed. Infrastructure investment is central to the government's plan to boost productivity, create jobs and reduce the strain on families. In the government's last budget, it committed more than $17 billion to road and rail upgrades, including the largest ever federal investment in Bruce Highway safety improvements as part of its 10-year infrastructure investment pipeline. The government will continue to invest in critical road and transport connections with the nation's biggest housing growth areas like Western Sydney and South East Queensland. It will complete the new Western Sydney International Airport. It will work with the Victorian Government to finalise the path to construction for the Melbourne Airport rail link. And it will deliver productivity-boosting projects around Australia. Recognising the importance of digital infrastructure, the government will invest up to $3 billion for the upgrade of Australia's remaining national fibre-to-the-node network, delivering faster internet for more than 600,000 additional premises. Acting on climate change and managing an orderly transition to clean energy will continue to be a priority for the government and a significant economic opportunity for Australia. Decarbonising Australia's electricity grid is vital to achieving net zero targets, and the government will continue pursuing its goal of 82% renewables by 2030, backed by batteries, hydro and gas. The government recognises the importance of private sector investment to this transformation. It is investing an additional $2 billion in the Clean Energy Finance Corporation to unlock $6 billion of private sector investment and incentivise homes and small businesses to switch to renewables. The government has opened its $2.3 billion Cheaper Home Batteries program. This is reducing the cost of a typical installed battery by 30%, lowering energy bills and improving the resilience and performance of our energy system. More than 1 million new batteries are expected to be installed by 2030. The government will also continue to accelerate investment in renewable energy generation and storage through its Capacity Investment Scheme, and it will co-fund a $40 million national training centre in new energy skills in Melbourne to help meet growing demand for workers in renewable energy sectors. The government understands Australian communities, farmers and businesses are already feeling the impacts of climate change. The government will continue to improve Australia's disaster preparedness, response and resilience capabilities, as well as deliver targeted support to those impacted by natural disasters. Protecting the environment is our responsibility to future generations. In this term, the government will build on the initiatives of its first term by reforming our environmental laws, including establishing a National Environmental Protection Agency to better protect the natural world and provide certainty for business. And later this year, the government will set a 2035 emissions reduction target that is in Australia's national interest. The global transition to net zero represents a significant opportunity for our nation. Australia is blessed with abundant solar and wind resources, a skilled and innovative workforce, and some of the world's largest deposits of critical minerals and rare earths. Through its Future Made in Australia agenda, the government is investing in our nation's manufacturing so we can make more things here. And it is supporting Australia to build a stronger, more diversified and resilient economy powered by clean energy. This term, the government will continue to lean into our advantage in areas like critical minerals processing, green metals and renewable energy. It will incentivise producers to process more of the critical minerals needed for solar panels, batteries and other clean tech here on our shores. Similar production incentives will support the production of Australian-made metals like aluminium and iron as they transition to low-emissions technologies. The government recognises the importance of aligning industry policy, innovation and science to advance our national interest and to bring jobs and opportunities to our industrial heartlands. And it will continue to invest in world-leading science and research to strengthen our ability to innovate. To leverage our natural resources and enable Australia to deal with trade and market disruptions, the government will establish a critical minerals strategic reserve, investing in minerals that are most important for Australia's national security and the security of our key partners. And it will expand the critical minerals facility to support private and international investors with the upfront costs of new projects, giving them the certainty they need to create Australian jobs. Recognising the important role that Australian gas has to play in an orderly global and domestic energy transition, the government will strengthen Australia's standing as a reliable energy partner for our region and implement the future gas strategy to provide reliable gas for Australians. Australia is deeply engaged in the world. In these uncertain times, our international relationships are vital for our security and prosperity at home and our ability to play a positive and stabilising role in regional and international affairs. In its first term, the government strengthened Australia's relationships with our Pacific and Southeast Asian neighbours. The government has also built on our relationships with traditional friends, the United States, New Zealand, Canada and the United Kingdom, as well as our key partners in Japan, the Republic of Korea, India and the European Union. And it has taken a calibrated approach towards stabilising relations with China. The government also supports Ukraine in its fight against Russia's illegal and immoral invasion. In its second term, the government will build on its relationships to advance Australia's interests and uphold the international rule of law. Ultimately, the government's foreign policy is an expression of our national values, national interests and national identity, and trade is an important part of that equation. Australia is situated in the fastest-growing region of the world in human history. In its first term, the government expanded and diversified Australia's export markets and bolstered the rules-based multilateral trading system. This delivered significant benefits for our economy and for Australian farmers, growers and producers in particular. In its second term, the government will continue advocating for a predictable, transparent, free, fair, inclusive, sustainable and rules-based trading system. It will strengthen Australia's anti-dumping regime to safeguard Australian manufacturers against unfair competition, offer $1 billion in zero-interest loans through the National Reconstruction Fund for firms to capitalise on new export opportunities, provide $50 million to help sectors affected by US tariffs to secure and grow new markets, and it will continue to implement recommendations from Invested, Australia's Southeast Asia Economic Strategy to 2040, making Australia's economy as resilient as possible by strengthening our trading relationships with existing partners and opening doors to new markets. There is no greater responsibility for government than keeping Australians safe and securing our nation's future. We live in a time of significant geopolitical change and uncertainty, and the government is positioning Australia to meet the growing global and regional security challenges we face. The government's National Defence Strategy is a whole-of-nation approach to Australia's defence and the strengthening of our defence capability. The government has already committed funding to increase annual defence spending from $59 billion this year to $79.6 billion in 2029-30. The government is also supporting the Australian defence industry, with almost 80% of Defence's annual budget spent in Australia. Australia will start manufacturing missiles this year. The government's plan for continuous naval shipbuilding and sustainment will be delivered by an Australian workforce too. The government is also committed to strengthening Australia's security partnerships. The AUKUS agreement with the United States and the United Kingdom will continue to be progressed to deliver long-term strategic benefits for all three countries. The government will also negotiate a security and defence partnership with the European Union to strengthen cooperation on global security challenges. And it will continue to invest in security cooperation and defence links with the countries of our region, including key neighbours like Indonesia and Papua New Guinea. The government also understands a strong domestic security agenda is essential to Australia's economic prosperity and social stability. To that end, it will give our law enforcement and intelligence agencies the tools they need to protect our nation, including from politically motivated violence, cybercrime and foreign interference. And it will work side by side with law enforcement and communities to defend every Australian's right to feel safe from violence and bigotry. Australians owe a profound debt of gratitude to all of those who serve our nation. The government is committed to ensuring our defence personnel, veterans and families can access the services and support they need and deserve. In its first term, the government passed legislation to simplify and harmonise veteran compensation legislation and work towards ensuring claims are processed faster. In its second term, the government will prioritise the implementation of recommendations from the Royal Commission into Defence and Veteran Suicide. This will be the most comprehensive reform ever undertaken to the culture, systems and processes across Defence, the ADF and DVA to prevent suicide and improve the mental health and wellbeing of serving personnel and veterans. The Defence and Veterans Services Commission will provide independent oversight and evidence-based advice to the government on these reforms. The government takes pride in the fact the values Australians project to the world reflect who we are at home. We are a young nation on an ancient continent. We are also the product of generations of migrants who, coming here in search of a better life, have found a place of courage, kindness and the fair go. Today, multiculturalism is the foundation of our dynamic, egalitarian nation and a huge asset for us as we build our links around the world. The makeup of the new parliament reflects just this. Over the coming term, the newly established Office for Multicultural Affairs will more closely align the government's policies and programs promoting understanding, access, equity and inclusion across Australia's diverse communities. All of this speaks for the government's understanding that multiculturalism is essential to Australia's national success. A thriving arts sector is vital to a sense of belonging. As well as enriching us culturally, it contributes more than $60 billion to our economy each year. In recognition of the sector's vital importance, in 2023 the government launched Revive, Australia's first cultural policy in a decade. Over the coming term, the government will continue to strengthen the sector through Revive, including allocating $25 million to extend the Revive Live program. This will give more performers the chance to connect with new audiences and make Australia's live music scene more inclusive and accessible for all. In conclusion, I congratulate all members and senators on being called to serve. Our democracy is the golden thread that unites Australians across geography and generations. It is now time for you to act as stewards of our proud democratic traditions and to faithfully carry out the duty with which Australians have entrusted you. As the Prime Minister has observed, democracy is always a work in progress, one that thrives when ideas and propositions are subject to robust but respectful interrogation. I wish you all the very best as you build our extraordinary nation's future together. It is now my duty and my honour to declare the 48th Parliament of the Commonwealth of Australia open. Thank you.
Prime Minister, Gaza is starving. Will you sanction Israel?
Thank you.
Thank you.